You keep hearing the news. Inflation is down. But at the grocery store, the gas pump, and in your bank account, it feels like a financial squeeze. Why does $100 buy what $70 used to? It's not your imagination. We're breaking down the 7 silent economic forces, from cumulative shock to the insurance explosion, that will squeeze your wallet in 2026. We don't just read the headlines, we check the receipts. Today, we validate why this economy feels so hard. If you want to understand the real economy so you can protect your family from it, stay informed. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's look at the data. Reason number 1, the cumulative shock, the math of misery. The news celebrates when inflation drops from 9% to 3%, but they are ignoring the most important number, cumulative inflation. The data. Since 2020, the cumulative inflation rate in the US has exceeded 25%. The reality. If a gallon of milk cost $3 in 2020 and it rose to $4, and now inflation is cooling, it doesn't mean the price goes back to $3. It just means it stops going to $5. It stays at $4 permanently. The squeeze? Your personal inflation rate is likely higher than the official numbers because you spend most of your money on essentials, food, shelter, and energy, which have risen faster than the average. Your paycheck might have gone up 15%, but your cost of living went up 25%. That gap is why you feel squeezed. Reason number 2, the insurance supercycle. While you can switch to generic cereal, you can't opt out of insurance. And in 2026, this is where the real pain will be. The data. Auto insurance. Premiums are projected to rise 4 to 7% in 2026 and are projected to stay high. Why? Because cars are computerized, high-tech vehicles. A fender bender that cost $500 to fix in 2015 now costs $3,000 because it involves recalibrating sensors and cameras. Home insurance. Premiums are projected to rise another 8% in 2026, following double-digit hikes in previous years. The squeeze? This is a mandatory fixed cost eating up your disposable income before you even spend a dime on fun. Reason number 3, the healthcare double inflation. If you thought general inflation was bad, look at your medical costs. The data. For 2026, employer health insurance premiums are projected to rise 6 to 7%. That is double the rate of general inflation. The cause? It's not just greed, it's an aging workforce requiring more care, and the explosion of expensive GLP-1 weight loss drugs, which are driving up costs for insurers, costs they are expected to pass directly to consumers. The squeeze? If your raise at work is 3%, but your health insurance premium goes up 7%, you just took a pay cut. We are 3 reasons in, and it's clear why the vibes are bad. If this data validates what you're seeing in your own life, please hit that like button. It helps us spread the truth about the real economy. Reason number 4, the shrinkflation standard. By 2025, companies began shrinking products, and this trend is expected to continue into 2026. The data. Recent 2025 consumer reports have flagged egregious examples. The family size scam. Family-sized cereal boxes and chip bags have shrunk by about 16% in weight, while the price stayed the same. The skimpflation trend. It's not just size, it's quality. Popular ice cream brands have reduced milk fat content to the point where they can no longer legally call it ice cream. They now label it frozen dairy dessert. Specific culprits? Reports highlight snack bars shrinking from 12 to 10 per box, and even Oreos having visibly less cream filling. You're paying 2025 prices for 2010 portions. Reason number 5, the childcare pressure. For parents, this is the single biggest budget breaker. The data. Childcare costs have risen 40% over the last decade, significantly outpacing inflation. In 2026, the average annual price for center-based care is projected to hover between $15,000 and $16,000 per child. The cause? Childcare is labor-intensive, You can't automate a toddler. As wages rise for workers, which is good, the cost is passed 100% to parents. The squeeze? For many families, childcare is now more expensive than their mortgage, acting as a second rent payment that vanishes every month. Reason number 6, the borrowing tax, higher for longer. Even if the Federal Reserve cuts rates slightly in 2026, we aren't going back to the free money era of 2020. The reality? Mortgages are expected to settle in the 6% range, not 3%. That would mean a monthly payment on a median home could be nearly double what it was a few years ago. Credit cards? APRs remain near record highs, between 18 to 28%. The squeeze? Every dollar of debt you carry costs more to service. The cost of money has permanently shifted, meaning you have less buying power for the same monthly payment. Reason number 7, the Vibecession, the psychology of wealth. Finally, there's a psychological reason. Economists call it a Vibecession. It's the disconnect between good economic data, like GDP, and bad consumer sentiment. The concept: wealth is relative. In 2020, you might have felt rich because you had stimulus checks and low expenses. In 2026, even if you have a job, you'll feel poor because you'll have no margin. The margin killer is when every extra dollar is sucked up by insurance, utilities, and debt. You lose the ability to save for fun things. Life could feel like paying bills with no margin for joy. That loss of hope and fun is why the economy feels terrible, regardless of what the stock market does. So no, you're not crazy. Here's why money will feel tighter in 2026. Cumulative inflation raised the price floor. Insurance costs have risen sharply since 2020. Healthcare costs are outpacing wages. Shrinkflation is making you buy more often. Childcare is a second mortgage. Borrowing is expensive, and your financial margin has vanished. The solution isn't to wait for prices to drop. They won't. The solution is to aggressively audit your fixed costs like insurance, attack your high-interest debt, and focus on increasing your income to outpace this new, expensive reality. I'm curious to hear from you. Which of these 7 reasons is hurting your budget the most right now? What products have you noticed shrinking in size? Drop your answers in the comments and subscribe for more educational content on personal finance. Thanks for watching.